Commissioner, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
It's my pleasure. So you are joining us from Arizona for, I guess that's where you're pinned up for the holidays.
Yeah. Yeah, we've been here for about a week and a half for the holidays. Or we have a daughter and her husband that live down here.
Grandkids?
No,
Not yet. Not yet.
no,
You're not that old.
I'm old enough.
Well, that's great that you're getting to spend some time with them because originally you're from Montana.
Right.
Uh, Born and
Phillips
raised there?
County. What was that again?
Born and raised?
Yes, born and raised right in Phillips County. So we're in Region 6 as far as FWP goes, in the northern, kind of north central, little bit eastern.
Okay. And you are a rancher?
Yes, lifetime. Yep.
Okay. So that explains your vested interest in FWP.
Yes, I actually served as a county commissioner in Phillips County for 12 years too, so did a lot of work with FWP with that also. So
Uh, and what inspired you to? I mean, really, it's politics. You're going into politics at that point. And here's a ranching gal who's like, you know what? I'm assuming you're looking out for your own interests and your constituents.
yes, so politically, like I said, I served 12 years as a county commissioner, did a lot of stuff clear to the national level on that, and then I ran for lieutenant governor and we lost that race, but then I worked for a congressman for a year and a half. So politics is definitely in my blood, but the reason that I agreed to do this was, like you said, I mean, ranching and wildlife go hand in hand, and my family is very deep rooted into hunting and trapping also. So it's just a good fit.
Trapping. Okay, there's another low-hanging fruit from the other side of the aisle. I mean, there's hunting, which they hate, and then there's trapping, which they absolutely despise, especially if you're talking about wolves. Then they just lose their minds. But I'm all for trapping. I trapped a wolf in British Columbia. One of the coolest trips I've been on was just to spend a week on a trap line with two brothers up there. And the reason they offered this trip was because they're moose outfitters, and they noticed like every year they were seeing more wolves and less moose, and they're like, we got to do something about this. And so they started trapping them, and then got good at it. And they're like, we could offer this experience to paying customer. And so yeah, I went up there and spent a week and caught a wolf and lynx and wolverines and fishers and pine martens. It was really a cool experience. So anyway, I'm a big fan of trapping, and it's a really great management tool.
It
I
is.
wish.
It's one of the tools available, and it's a part of the heritage of our state too. So yeah.
Well, in this country, people think the gold rush is what pushed westward expansion. It was actually the beaver trapping trade, I mean, you've seen The Revenant with Leonardo DiCaprio, maybe.
Nope, I don't think I've seen that one. Honest,
Well,
I
so
watch a lot of movies, but I don't think.
it's really good, but the premise is they're fur trappers, and they're moving west, and everybody is, and that's long before the gold rush days. Predates that by at least a half a century or so. So yeah, but sadly, it is a dying art form, and that's because fur prices are not worth what they once were, and it really has a negative impact on other things that I like to hunt, like nesting birds, ground nesting birds, waterfowl specifically. You see, just nobody really traps raccoons anymore. And certainly skunks and possums get a free pass these days, and those are like the number one predators on waterfowl nests. So,
We have coyote problems in our area, so that's where a lot of the trapping goes for
mhm.
coyotes. But
Doesn't everybody have that coyote problems?
well,
I mean,
it
give them
got way
credit.
worse. The last few years, it's gotten worse. So.
Mm. I will give the coyote credit, though. They're the most adaptable species, I think, in North America. You can find them in New York City, you can find them in Alaska, and everywhere in between, and all the way down to Mexico. So there's nowhere that they can't exist and really thrive. I think they've proven that. But so you have a ranch, and like you said, legacy ranching family. How big is your property? How many head of cattle do you run?
I'll just tell you, like, we have over 10,000 acres in block management, which is our access program in Montana. So
Uh-huh.
we cover a lot of space and run quite a few cattle, and we're on the ground a lot. We ride horseback for a lot of our cattle work. So we are out and about, and we see what's going on as far as with the wildlife, or the birds, everything, while we're
Uh-huh.
out. So
Yeah. And so I mean, you've been around since, what was it, 94 when the feds reintroduced wolves in the greater Yellowstone area, and Montana, Wyoming, and Idaho were given we'll see, and I think, was it 100 wolves and 10 breeding pairs in each state, and once they got to that, they were able to, the feds would turn over management to the state. But then, there's legal battles, and they didn't really stick to what they had promised. And you guys are still fighting that today. I'm scrolling on Facebook, and there's this group, Women for Wolves, and they're bitching about well, I mean, the Trump administration is trying to delist them. But I mean, and I imagine all of these Women for Wolves folks have blue hair or purple hair or some crap, and probably never step outside of their cubicle, or they're probably baristas actually at Starbucks.
well,
You can laugh; it's funny.
in region 6, we have an occasional wolf, I guess, that gets harvested in the region that I am in. There is some regions that are hit a lot harder with wolf populations, but we're trying, and we're in constant litigation from both sides on the wolves. So I kind of have to be careful what I talk about as far as the wolf issues, but ongoing for sure.
Now, do you have grizzlies in your area?
No, not yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I've done a couple hunts in Montana, elk and black bear, and had wonderful experiences in both cases. I did see more grizzlies than I did black bear on that hunt, and that was up by Kalispell. And I mean, there were so many grizzlies, and yet no way for the state to manage them.
Right. And that's the bottom line, is they have to be delisted before the state can really do some true management. And we did pass some regulations if they do get delisted. Off the top of my head, I can't tell you exactly what they are, but we're just getting ready for the delisting so that we were prepared when hopefully they do get delisted. But yeah, they're definitely an issue across this. Well, not as much, like they're moving east. They're constantly moving east. I just don't have any confirmed sightings, I guess, in our region yet.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, they are expanding. So when I was elk hunting there, I think that was 2018 ish, and my buddy Ty Stubblefield is the one that I went with. He's now a bison rancher up in Montana. But anyway, he was like, "There's no grizzlies here, so don't have to worry about that." But okay, cool. The next year, he sent me a photo. He's like, "You remember this spot where we were calling from?" And I was like, "Yep." He's like, "Look at this grizzly. It's right here." He's like, "So they've expanded." And we flew into Missoula and then drove. I think we went 2 hours south or east. I can't remember exactly, but he's like, "Yeah, they're expanding their range." And then he's had to deal with one of his bison got killed by a grizzly, and the state came out and looked at it and was like, "Well, we don't know that this was a grizzly." He's like, "Why don't you just look at the claws? What else is killing a bison?" It's like, but he said that was a hassle getting, I guess, refunded or reimbursed for his loss there. I mean, yeah, and this has nothing to do with Montana, but what a disaster Colorado has proven to be with their wolf reintroduction. They've reintroduced known livestock killers, that they got from Oregon. And what do? They come to Colorado and they eat livestock. Of course they do. And then you've got a big problem on your hands. But that's has nothing to do with you. What I did want to talk today, though, specifically about with you is, well, my buddy Ryan, a buddy of mine from Texas, comes up to Montana every year and hunts mule deer or whitetail. And I guess it only takes him, I guess it just takes the 1 point, pretty much to draw that tag every year, at least every other year. And it's good. The tag is good for whitetail or mule deer. And he sent me a photo, him and his buddy, each with a nice buck. His buddy shot a whitetail. He shot a mule deer, and they're hunting around, I think, the Missouri Breaks somewhere up there. And then I said, well, that's cool, but check out this article. And I sent him a link to an outdoor article that was like, Montana FWP Commission votes unanimously to cut non-resident deer tags. He was like, oh, damn it. And I was like, well, yeah, I get it, but there's got to be a reason why you guys felt compelled to unanimously cut the number of deer tags. So
sure.
Yeah. Go ahead and take from there.
Sure. So what we did was on the combination tag, they can purchase a elk deer combination. And some people don't want the deer part of it, so they decouple it and turn the deer back. And so it's resold. So it's not a for sure number of how many tags we have cut, because what we did was 50% of what was turned back. Historically, that's been around 5,000 tags that were turned back and resold. So half of that would be approximately 2,500 non-resident deer tags. But that doesn't touch it's not, I'm hoping.
So these are leftover tags anyway.
Well, they're like decoupled tags, yes. So
But do you have to have a preference point to get one of them?
You can, if you have, I know that the outfitters, that their clients have preference points, and that will give them a better chance of picking up the 2,500 that are left. And historically, around 1,400 are outfitted out of those 2,500 or whatever. So it's not. I'm going to back up and tell you why we did it.
Yeah.
I had some public meetings. I had a public meeting with the director, with a bunch of landowners. I heard from a lot of hunters in my region, especially, of just the overcrowding of non-residents. The non-residents are spending more hunter days also. And we have Region 7 and Region 6 have the most block management areas, which I said that's what we call our access programs. And so it makes sense that we have more non-residents, but we just heard things like, one guy said, well, two people actually, they glassed 360 and saw 35 different hunters while they're out hunting. And so I just tried to find a way that we could stop a little bit of the overcrowding in mainly Region 6 and 7, because the majority of the non-resident hunters are coming to Region 6 and 7. And so I looked there's like 3 different stools to FWP. The legislature mandates a lot of what we do. And then we make all the rules, regulations, and that kind of things for FWP, and then FWP implements them. So I looked as to what are my avenues to try to do something, because our legislature doesn't even meet for another year. Mm-hmm. I kept running into roadblocks of different things that were more legislatively decided rather than commission. And this is where I landed, was on these decoupled tags. What I really wanted to do.
So this is actually, you're the one that brought this to the table.
Yes.
I think there's 6, 7 commissioners.
There's 7 total. There's 7 regions,
okay.
7 commissioners. Yep.
Okay.
So you can't, the thing is you can't just bring something.
So it's your fault.
It's all my fault. Yeah. But it was unanimous. And that's the thing is, when when we put out that amendment for comments, there were, I don't even remember how many, a lot of comments that came in. And across the state, they said the same thing. Too many non-residents, not enough deer. And I have nothing against non-residents. It's just that we've got to do something to help the deer population, because we are, especially in Region 6, we had EHD in our whitetail and then our mule. We've been in a drought for about 5 years. It's just kind of a perfect storm of a lot of things that have added up that have brought our deer populations down. And we just need to do something to bring them back, because if you don't have the deer population, nobody's a winner. Because I mean, who wants to come hunt and not find anything? And we need to protect the resource.
That's what Colorado's for.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm speaking from experience on a recent mule deer hunt where I did not see many mature deer at all. One in 7 days. You know what I saw? A lot of elk hunters, over the counter elk hunters. Mine was a drawn rifle tag, but Colorado sells unlimited over the counter third season rifle elk tags, and it was a mess. And nothing against them. Like I'm hey, go buy your tag, go hunting. I'm all for that. But would I rather wait longer, maybe, to see less people? Yeah, I probably would. You know, to be honest.
So our computers, the FWP's computer system was not set up to be able to allocate non-residents per region. And so part of my amendment was to direct them to get a system that we can do that. And
oh wow, so it was just a statewide deal?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, that seems very dated.
Well,
so I had no idea.
Yeah, wow. So I'm hoping management wise, in a perfect world, we could split it up 7 ways equally, but that's not going to happen. But we have to figure out some way to at least allocate and track for sure where the hunters are and what's being harvested. And yeah, we need some work on what we can do, and this is definitely the first step. Pretty big. I mean, not as big a step. I actually wanted 5,000 tags, all of those decoupled tags. That's what I came out with first, and then I backed it off to 2,500 or half of the decoupled tags, not sell them. So that's okay. And it's biennial, so it's for this what we've done is for 2 years, and we can make changes a year in, but we try not to. And really, it'll take the 2 years to find out at what the impact is, I guess, too.
Oh yeah, and hopefully come up with some kind of regional tag allocation instead of just a blanket. I mean, Montana's a massive state, and all things are not equal when you're talking about deer numbers in X region versus Y region. It's just, and that transcends anywhere you go, any state. So what percentage of Montana FWP revenue comes from non-residents? Because this is the catch-22. It's like and I know like Colorado, it's over 70%. I think it was like 78% with non-resident tags driving that percentage of their state's revenue. I don't know what it is for Montana, but I'm sure it's significant.
Yeah, I think as far as the sales, and I don't have, we don't, so I just got, the commission doesn't really deal with the budget side of it. In fact, this is the first time I've been on the commission for almost 5 years. This is the first time that when they gave us their opinion, I guess, on the amendment, was the first time I've seen a dollar number attached to anything.
Huh. Okay.
But, so I know that as far as deer licenses, it's a pretty monetary wise, it's quite large difference because the price and the tags, but 75% I think of it is non-resident, and then 25% of it is resident. As far as the sales revenue.
Yeah, and you guys keep increasing your non-resident tag fee. I mean, like I looked the other day.
the legislature does all that, so we don't.
Yeah. Okay. No, I didn't mean to point the finger at you on that, at the commission. But I mean, an elk tag is $1,078 now in Montana, which that's on the higher end. And they've all gone up. When I first started elk hunting 15 years ago, I think most of the tags were in that $500 to $600 range. And I mean, some of them have doubled, it seems like now. I definitely didn't pay over $1,000 when I hunted elk in Montana 5 or 6 years ago. It was closer to like $700 or $800.
Was that a combination tag, or was that just an elk?
I think that was just an elk tag.
Okay.
But you guys do it where if you don't get it during archery season, you can always come back and hunt rifle season, which I think is cool. So the tag that I had was like that anyway.
Yeah.
But I didn't come all the way back up to Montana from Texas to do that.
And I'm not that familiar with the prices. I do know it's a lot higher, and a lot, like I said, I think it's 20. Actually, deer might be like 2080. But anyway, you get the idea.
Yeah.
A lot of the revenue, but that's not all of their operating budget. And the amendment that I brought forward estimated at a $1.7 million decrease in revenues per year. So biennial 3.4 over the 2 years.
Okay. And so is that just like, hey, now we're operating at this $3.4 million deficit, or are we going to try to recoup that money in some other capacity?
I think what you said to begin with, I think it'll be a deficit, but not necessarily on their operating. From what I understand, it'd probably be more from special projects or something. And 40% of that money is used for block management, the access program. But I think that there are other avenues for revenue on that. And like I said, we have a pretty large amount of acreage in block management. And I still brought that forward, understanding that there could be a decrease in what we receive for our block management, because if you don't protect the resource, then you have nothing in the future.
For sure.
Yeah.
So, but explain to the listener and myself exactly how block management works. Do you receive funding from the state in exchange for opening your land up to hunting opportunity?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. So there's different things you can, for as far as species, ours is like antelope, deer, and then I'm not even sure. We have elk on some areas, but I don't even know if elk's part of our block management, and birds. But anyway, so you choose your species, and then we have a lot of walk-in only, where you don't want people driving all over the place. So they have parking areas, and all they have to do is sign into a box, and that is their access. That's their permission slip, is to sign in. So you're paid a base fee and then hunter days. So the more hunters you get, the more revenue you get, because you're paid based on how many hunter days you have.
Okay. So it gives you incentive to manage the wildlife, because you're like, hey, the better our resources managed, the more hunters want to come here.
Right.
Puts more money in our pocket. It seems like everybody wins.
Right. We've been in it for, I think this was our 26th year of being in the program, and it's worked well for us. And then, like I said, it's just managed a little bit more. But we do have areas that we don't put in block management, where we will be working our cattle or whatever. Don't really want hunters shooting as we're trailing cows through the pasture. And I believe that wildlife needs some kind of refuge too, where they can kind of get away from all the pressure, because there's quite a bit of pressure on those access.
Can non-residents take advantage of the block management as well?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
That's different in every state, because like I've had an elk tag in New Mexico before, and they have state land there, which I, as a non-resident, can't hunt. It had to be national park or, federal land. BLM, whatever, but like the state land, no, non-resident can't go on there. So that is important to, figure out exactly where you're hunting and what you're allowed to access with, as a non-resident.
Right. So in Montana, we're very checkerboarded. So within one of our pastures, most likely there's going to be state land. There's going to be lots of BLM lands in our area and the private land. So you just give access through your private land, and then they have access to the federal and state lands too with it.
So as a landowner, because this is something in Western states that's been really front and center over the last few years, is corner crossings. And you're a landowner. Right. You're like, here, just access my land. We've actually opened it up through block management. What do you think about landowners who try to keep folks out of public land? Do you think corner crossings should be legal, or should there be some type of easement where, you have to allow people to access this stuff because it's theirs?
I'm not sure that I really truly support corner crossings. And every person has, it's a private property, right? You've paid for the property, it's your property, but we've always believed in, giving access, but it's a two-way street though, as long as they're respecting our private property too. And so as far as corner crossings, I'm not, like
it's a loaded question.
Yeah, I'm not sure that I support corner crossing, but and it'll all play out eventually. But yeah. But I think it's important that we've built some really long-lasting family relationships with hunters that have come for generations to the ranch, and some of them non-residents too. So I don't know. Like I said, again, this is just part of our heritage in Montana. Is just hunting on the ranch. So.
So, do you think? And I know this is more of on the legislative side of things from FWP, but like I said, these tags continue to go up. Same thing in Wyoming. Do you think that we are nearing a breaking point where we're just going to start pricing non-resident hunters out? And maybe that's like Oklahoma recently increased their tag fees because, and they'll even admit it, like they thought there was too many Texans just coming across the border where land is cheaper and there's a lot of public land. We don't have much in Texas, as big as our state is. It's 98% privately owned. And so they increased tag fees by like 70%, to where if you just want a whitetail deer hunt the entire season now, that's like over $1,500, which is absurd just for a whitetail deer. And I think their goal was to de-incentivize some Texans or price some Texans out. I don't know if Western states are trying to do that with the price. Like you guys are doing it to protect your deer herd. But if these tags keep going up, I wonder if we're going to reach a tipping point and then we start losing enough revenue to where it hurts FWP or Colorado Parks and Wildlife or Wyoming Fish and Game or whatever it is. I don't know.
I don't know either. I'm not sure that we're there yet, but
$1,100 for an elk tag is a lot of money. It's expensive.
I know. But my husband went hunting for moose, I guess, up in Canada, and it was a pretty expensive hunt too. So I don't know that we're. I don't know that we're there.
That's different. We have to make we have to point out that that's a guided hunt more than likely.
Right.
I just went to Newfoundland and did the same thing in shot moose. Yep. So if you're dropping 10 or 12 grand, that's different than the guy who's like, I want to put an elk in my freezer, and I'm from Kansas. Where do I go? Well, okay, I can go to Montana, but it's $1,100. Well, shoot, I don't know if I can afford that. So,
I think we need to get our species back up to healthy populations and quality hunts, and that's a different view for everybody what a quality hunt is too, if you're looking for a trophy or if you're looking just for meat in your freezer. But I like I said, we don't set those, but before I forget too, another amendment that I carried was in Montana, you could kill harvest 8 deer total if you were a resident. And so we dropped that down to 3. And so
Mm-hmm.
I didn't just, I'm not, I don't want to be seen as just targeting non-residents. We are trying on both ends, residents and non-residents, to just protect the species for now. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what we're here for. So
Wow. So you cut over 50% of the
opportunity, I guess.
bag total of resident hunters.
Yep.
Yeah, I didn't realize that. So, okay. I mean, I'm on board with that. You got to do what you've got to do, and it should. And I guess that's the deal, especially when it's public land, federally owned public land. You got to give the residents preference because it is within their state. The wildlife is still the state's, right?
Right. Right.
The land is not. But so I get it. We've got to give residents preference, but you can't completely shut out non-residents or
Right.
they're and we're happy to do it. I'm speaking from experience. I hunt out west every year, and name the state. I've got points there, and I'm applying. Doesn't matter. But I'm invested in it, and I'm a willing participant, and I want to invest in it. And I think we're happy to carry the heavy lifting as far as the financial impact and revenue that is created from non-resident hunters. But that is good that you guys cut the. I mean, who needs to shoot 8 deer? I don't know.
Right.
Maybe you've got a family of 10 or something. But most guys, and I will tell you this, Commissioner, hunting has changed in my lifetime. Do I hunt for meat? Yes, but I also hunt for experience, and I hunt for a trophy. It's all 3 of those things. And I think 30 years ago, it was more about meat and experience, less about trophy, right? But we all we all like trophies. Like if a 4-point walks out and an 8-point walks out, which one are you going to shoot? Everyone's going to shoot the 8-point.
Yeah. Right. That's what I'm saying. I mean, it's different for everybody what a quality hunt is, but you have to. If we don't protect the species, then nobody has anything. Businesses aren't going to get their hunters because the hunters aren't going to come, and we just have to protect the species, and that'll be good for everyone.
It's so nuanced, right? Because what you said is important. Right. If we keep going down this path where we're giving out this many tags and the experience is garbage for everybody, and all we hear is bitching as far as feedback is concerned. Okay, well, yeah, we sold more tags, but we offered a lesser experience. And then I would say, yeah, like the unit I hunted in Colorado. I'm not going to hunt that unit ever again. I can tell you that right now. And that's not, I mean, I'm not blaming Colorado Parks and Wildlife. Well, maybe I am, but I would hunt in Colorado again, but I wouldn't go back to that area because my experience wasn't a great one. So that is important.
I mean, like with the drought, our antelope numbers were way down, but they're coming back to not to where they were, but they are coming back. And I guess back to the deer too. Was it 2 years ago, our last biennial season setting? We did not allow any mule deer B tags to be harvested on public lands. They had to be only on private. So we've had this, I mean, we've had the problem for a while, and we've just been trying like these little things to try to make a difference. And this is just the next step. But I'm hoping our deer plan, we're doing a statewide deer plan, should be coming out soon, but I was not willing to wait until that deer plan came to make a move on trying to help what's going on right now.
So how often does the commission discuss EHD? And so I'm coming from a state where CWD is this huge boogeyman for white-tailed deer, and I'm just here to tell you, it isn't. It isn't. I bet, I'm not going to say half, but I bet a lot of people listening to the show right now have eaten a CWD infected deer in their lifetime. It's never once jumped the food chain. It hasn't been transmitted to a human. And the thing with CWD is I could shoot a 5.5-year-old whitetail buck that had CWD, and that deer looked perfectly healthy and he's been infected with CWD for 3 years. He's probably going to die of old age before CWD kills him or he shows any external signs of being affected by the disease. EHD kills them very quickly and wipes out entire herds. And so I just don't understand, like, why. It has a lot to do with Texas, but there's other states too that have made CWD into this boogeyman. I think all of that money and research should be used on EHD. Personally, that's the real boogeyman.
So we do have EHD, and it comes in waves. So you might not have it for a few years, and then it hits you hard. Well, this year it hit us hard in our area, and so we had a special. Well, it was one of our meetings, but I added it to the agenda, and we stopped the sale of the whitetail tags, kind of in its tracks. We limited them because I had one landowner that counted 50 dead whitetails on his place, and honestly, that wasn't the end. There was still more. And his neighbors down the road said they couldn't even hardly go outside of their house because of the smell of all the whitetail.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so we had a problem, and so, but it's very hard in our area because the mapping, I couldn't, like, they weren't prepared to give me an area around. It's the Milk River Valley is mainly where it's hitting. And so I did instruct them, also ask them to get maps together so that when we do have a problem, we can pinpoint it to the areas, because there were other areas that had whitetails. But CWD is also a big conversation that we have, and one of the pushback on my amendment was, what about areas with CWD? And I just said, well, those are the areas that were being overcrowded, and I would rather that they come back to us and ask for maybe a special hunt or something like that, rather than just making that area open to a bunch more hunters or whatever. And I think that my way of thinking is we need to target management rather than just try to do everything and then hope that it gets managed in the proper areas. So I guess that's just the way I think. But
so your management area is 6, correct?
yes.
And that's in the northeast part of the state?
Yes.
I mean, I'm looking at the CWD management zone map right now. It's all over the place.
Yes.
And you're in the northeast area of Montana.
Yep.
Do you ever
just next to Canada? Yes.
Yeah. And do you see a lot of like herds of deer dying from CWD?
Not where I live.
Well, no, but I'm looking at the map. And that's what I'm asking, because it's all red up there,
right
outside of Fort Peck Reservation, and yet there's, I mean, no. I just don't care about CWD like I do EHD, and I just think that it's been made into this fake
I don't know
for survey herds, and I just don't see it. And I'm talking to someone who serves on a commission for a state Fish and Wildlife Management agency, and you don't see it. So I don't know. I think we need to maybe reinvest the energy and resources into EHD, but. It's hard with these things, like you said, they just come in waves.
Right.
Some of them live in the soil. How would you ever, short of something that you fed the deer that manipulated their genes to be,
tolerant.
Yeah, to be able to fight off the disease. I don't know how you would do it.
I don't either. But even that's the thing too, is I heard things like, well, they always come back from EHD. And, there probably isn't going to be more deer harvested than normal. And I'm like, well, yeah, but you're not taking into account the deer that have already died. And so once you come in and you harvest what's left, and then half of them have already, died from EHD. Like, So it's been doing a lot of changes, I guess.
So let me ask you this. Was the experience of overcrowding and more pressure on your mule deer and whitetail herds the main reason, with EHD kind of just in the background?
Right.
Or was EHD a real factor?
No, yeah, EHD was a real factor, definitely. Like I said, we cut back on the whitetail tags, but It would probably put maybe more pressure on the mule deer um, doing that too. And that's the thing too, is every action you make, there's a reaction, and so you never know, is another region going to get hit harder, or where's the pressure going to move? And so this was actually removed by removing some of the tags on both resident and non-residents. But yes, our northern part of the county. See, that's when we got all those comments on my amendment. It was statewide. That was surprising to me that it wasn't just Region 6 and 7 where we get a lot of pressure. It was statewide that said the same thing. It's hunters, it's landowners, it's one time that there's a lot of people from all different angles that are in agreement that we need to do something.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's why I wanted to have you on, just so we could hear it from you. And I didn't even know that you were the one that drafted the amendment, so that's even better since you're the one that came up with it.
Right.
That you're here talking to us. But yeah, when you see a state start to cut non-resident opportunity, then as a non-resident, I'm like, well, I'm somewhat invested in that. Like I said, my buddy tries to come up there. I guess he's buying the leftover, the deer tags that get turned back in every year. And he actually was like, you should come with me next year. And I was like, yeah, I think I want to do that. And then I read the article and I'm like, well, maybe I'm not going to do that. But I don't blame you. And I think we have to protect the resource. And again, going back to the experience, does anyone really want to go out just so that they can say they went hunting, but they had to sit there and glass up 20 other hunters while they're doing it? That's not the experience I want personally. So.
Right. So I'm hoping in the end that people will have a better experience and we'll have a better resource for people to come and hunt.
Mm-hmm. What do you like to hunt yourself?
Yeah, I have in the last week I got a really nice antelope a couple of years ago, and I have not gotten a deer yet, so I'll wait for the numbers to come back.
Mm-hmm. True conservationist. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, I think I have 6 or 7 deer points and probably that many antelope points in Montana. So I know, like you alluded to earlier, there's been a drought, and then there was a big winter kill that definitely affected Wyoming. I don't know if that hits you guys as hard.
It's been a few years ago that we had a terrible winter kill, especially on antelope. Yes,
they're just not as hardy as.
Yeah, and the way they migrate, I think. And then we had a lot that were killed on the train tracks too. We have a main train tracks that go along the northern part of our state, and so it was just a big mess for antelope that year. But and like I said, with the drought, our most recent drought started in 2019. So we're starting to get more water in the reservoirs and more grass, and antelope are coming back. Starting to.
Yeah. Well, that's great. Well, so you've gotten an antelope and have plans for deer. Have you ever gone elk hunting?
I've had a tag for the last 2 years and I did not fill it. It's really a tough time when you ranch, and hunting season does not really work well. So I didn't get a lot of days out, but I still enjoyed it. I just really enjoyed, and we do have elk on our place too, so I get to see them. And my husband got a beautiful elk in 2016. It's Boone and Crockett score was 405.8. So it's
my gosh,
sits in my office.
Yeah. Oh, that is awesome. Off your own property, huh?
Well, nope, that was on the CMR Wildlife Refuge where he got that. It's where actually we lease down there, and that's where our cattle run. And that is where he got it, and I was with him, and it was a pretty neat experience. And so it's kind of fun to have it right behind my desk. So
very cool, very cool. What is your favorite wild game to eat? And beef tenderloin's not an option.
I know. I've been raised on beef, so I prefer beef. But probably that what the weird thing, that elk that Jim got in 16 was 8. They figured it was around 8 years old. That was the best elk that I
Mm,
have ever had.
yeah.
Weird, but yes, it was
Well,
great.
has he gotten his moose back yet? The meat?
Uh, yeah. Well, yeah, that was a few years ago. So yeah, it's gone.
Oh
But
yeah.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
my favorite. I mean, I love elk, but my favorite North American cervid has to be moose.
We're
I feel
starting
like
to
it's
see a
just,
few more moose in our area. Random moose, I
uh-huh.
guess, kind of coming through. So,
That's cool. Right on. Well, Commissioner, I appreciate the time. Thank you so much. Happy holidays, happy New Year, and yeah, you made yourself available just to a guy calling from Texas to discuss it, and so I appreciate that, and I
nope.
think the public appreciates when you guys make yourself accessible. So, and you're not the first. I forget who it was, but I've had on another commissioner. It was once.
I think Commissioner Burrows, I think you said.
Yes, yeah, Burroughs, for sure, yeah. So, yeah, thank you so much for the
All
time
right.
today. Really appreciate it.
Okay. Well, thank you for having me on.
All right, take care.
Bye.